The bent over row is a great movement to be able to develop strength and power in those large muscles in your back, in your arms, and your shoulders. Now, you'll notice that as I do these, I don't have any upper body support. In other words, I'm not putting my hand on a bench supporting the weight of my upper body. I'm bending over. I'm letting my core do the work and do the support. This is very, very important to increasing that core strength. That's one of my main focuses I've always talked about, and I'll continue to talk about and continue to stress. You've got to get the core involved every chance you can. So, what you'll see again is no support of the upper body. I'm in the position hip hinged. We talked about this when we went through the RDL, and we talked about the hip hinge sequence. So that hip hinge is where I bend at the hips. I keep my back tight, I keep my back flat, I maintain good, solid spinal position there. And so I'm not rounding my back. I'm not putting myself in a position that I can get hurt. Even though the weights are heavy, I maintain good, solid position. I use that core to stabilize my body. I use my legs, use my buttocks. So there's a lot involved when you're doing this exercise. So you'll see in the exercises going forward how this is important. This is something you want to work on and something you want to continue to stress as we go through other movements. The dumbbell bent over row is a great movement, not only for the arms and the lats, those large muscles in your back, upper back and shoulders, but also for the core. I like doing these because, again, it gets that core involved and really, really works all of that posterior chain, all those muscles on the back side of the body. Now, I'm going to show you this from the side first, and then I'll turn back around. Important things to note. When we start, first thing I want you to do is bend your knees slightly. Really push your chest out. Now, it's going to be very important to bend at the hips. Same thing like we do with an RDL. So that you keep the back nice and flat and tight. From this position here, all I'm going to think about doing is pushing my hips back, which allows my shoulders to drop. From here, I'll turn the dumbbells in, pull them up, back down. You see that nice flat back position? Good range of motion, full stretch on the bottom. Back up the same length from the front. So again, that's one of my favorite movements to develop a lot of power through your whole body and a lot of strength through the entire body. The single arm bent over dumbbell row is good because what you're doing here versus the alternating arm is keeping that movement going on the same side. Now, obviously, you got to make sure you do both sides together. I like doing these without my hand and knee on the bench because all I'm doing there is I'm creating a balance and support and taking that additional work that you get out of the core away. This will work your core. It'll help get that posterior chain working together, which is very, very important for us as we go through life. Now, knees slightly bent, chest out, hand on the hip. I'm going to bend forward by pushing the hips back. And you can really feel how this wants to pull you over to that right side. So all those muscles working across your back have to work to stabilize your body and stabilize your spine. Now from the side, same thing, hand on the hip, knees slightly bent, chest out, push the hips back. Give this one a try. I'm sure you're going to like it. You're going to probably do it more often. The alternating arm bent over row is, again, one of my favorites. I love doing these bent over row movements because they really develop a lot of strength and power. Now I do this instead of doing a single arm row with my hand held down and my knee up on a bench. The purpose of that is so that you get a lot more core involvement. You can really feel that anterior chain, or posterior chain, those muscles on the back side of the body, all working together to maintain your stability in this exercise. Now again, I'm going to start at the side, then I'll rotate around to the front. Knees slightly bent, chest out. This is the position you want to start in anytime we're doing any movement that we're going to bend forward with. I'm going to push my hips back, keeping my back tight. From this point, I'm going to pull up, down, switch hands. And you can see the full range of motion, the rotation of the body, and how that core is really working. Now, you'll see again a lot of that from the front, rotation of the body. One thing I want to point out on this one, if you do this with your feet apart, you have a better balance and stability. The closer your feet are together, the more challenging it is. So I'm going to do this one with my feet and legs together. So again, knees bent, push your hips back. And you can see that rotation, nice flat back position, and good core involvement.
The bent over barbell row is a very basic movement. It's very important to be able to do this correctly. You got to maintain a nice flat back position, but it's a great power movement for the back and the core. So I'm going to go through this, demonstrate to you how to get in the right position, how to do this properly and safely. Now, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to get the bar. I want to set myself so my knees are slightly bent, my chest is out. From here, all I'm going to do is push my butt back, keep my head up and chest out so my back stays nice and flat and straight. Pull the weight up and back down. Full range of motion, especially at the bottom. Full range of motion. Back up. And onto the wrap.
The reverse grip row is a position that's going to focus a lot more on your biceps. When your hands are turned around this way and we're pulling, it's going to get those biceps involved considerably more. So we use this exercise to help increase more strength and power in the bicep. Now, it's important again to remember you've got to have that good hip hinge position. So you want to keep the back flat, head up, chest out, and we're going to pull that bar up a little lower than we would with an over grip. So it goes more toward the lower part, middle part of the chest, upper part of the rib cage. So we're going to go ahead and grab the bar a little wider than shoulder grip. Hands turned around backwards, head up, chest out, bring the bar up. And just like this, you can see those biceps working. And the core is involved, so we're getting a lot of things happening with that movement.